Well, perhaps we better start from the beginning. So, this is for my friend Mr. W. We're going to do 2 amplifiers for this guy. This is the Skipper, which is produced by Palomar. There's like 5 different names that go along with this thing. We've got this, and then we've got the Skipper 400, Skipper 250. I'm not too sure which version this is. But then we also have a Klv-550, which I freaking hate working on them things because they're a nightmare to take apart. That's okay. It's not my job to complain. It's just my job to fix the darn thing. So this thing here is a 2-piece unit, as we all know. We're missing a couple screws. The LEDs aren't sitting right on the front. This thing splits in half and kind of folds over a little bit. So he says that one of the, as I like to put it, bullshit wires broke off on the board on this thing. He took it to another supposed technician, I guess, and that technician replaced that wire, but he doesn't think that that was put in there properly. He doesn't know if the pills are good. He doesn't know. He says he doesn't know. And then he also says to me, you know, BBI, I gotta admit to you, man, it's been so long since I sent you the damn thing. I don't remember really. And I chuckled very softly, sheepishly, and embarrassed, and went, yeah, I understand, man, I understand. So, needless to say, we're going to split this thing in half, and let's go take a look at her guts. Let's go look at the inside of her. Well, this is the 2-pill version and not the 4-pill version. It's got 2 Toshiba 2879s in it. And we can see the repair job that was done here, which is suspect at best. I guess what we could do is let's grab ourselves a connector here. I have the feeling I'm going to be taking this apart, just taking the faceplate apart to realign the LEDs alone, so might as well be thorough with it. That's positive, that's negative. This is positive. This connector's so loose and the leads are so long that it can physically short out the power supply, which is no good. It is protected by a fuse, which is the wrong kind of fuse. There's a 15 amp fuse here. It's over here in the power supply section. That is the wrong kind of fuse. And then we've got a 25 amp fuse here, which is the wrong kind of fuse again. I mean, technically, I guess that would kind of work. But I gotta dig around, I'll get the right fuses in there. So let's see if we can at least talk through it. We'll grab the bench 2950. Hello, audio. Okay. So what we're seeing is RF coming in, passing through all the gobbledygook on the board, coming out, going through this connector, not this piece of coax. Decant just below a watt. Hello. We're doing over 5 watts average. And here's our SWR bridge between the radio and the amp. Hello. So, excuse me. So, in theory, that piece of beat up coax is passing RF through it, but not enough that I feel comfortable with it. So, let's go down here real quick before we get too much farther on in this deal. And go ahead, we'll change that out. We'll unsolder this and replace it with a piece of RG316. This amplifier has been wet, as wet gets at some point or another. Okay, so, hello, getting ahead of myself. Let's turn the amp off. Hello, 1, 2. Okay, so I can talk through it. Turn the amp on. Hello, we got nothing. Nothing. So let's go down here and let's go look. You see all these hot resistors? Input attenuators. Input attenuators. And it looks like this choke here has been burned up. And that is what carries the signal to the input transformer. At 0 and 2. Now, we've got a 10 ohm resistor. It's getting really hot. So, let's let you take a look at this. You can see what I'm seeing. At 0. Okay, make sure to add that into the video. What that tells to me is we got some problems in the pills. Now, I've already had this all apart twice. Got the preamp fixed. All of the LEDs on the front of this thing are fixed. Now everything works. Everything works the way it should. The LEDs anyhow. The TX indicator light's working again and actually pushed down through the hole. They got a SWAT. Now I gotta take pills out. I have a feeling they are popped, sir. At least one of them for sure. It's just not getting enough input signal to blow it out all the way. The 10 ohm, that is. So, out come the Toshibas. Transistor A. Blown. Transistor B. Bet you it's good, because that would be the one that the 10 ohmer wasn't lighting up on. Okay, 67. So it's still good. Yay. Well, we'll set this one aside. We'll set this one aside. Now, I have a feeling. It's just a feeling. This is where I gotta call the customer and say, bro, do you want to sink an ass ton of money into this old thing, or do you just want to throw some HGs in it and be done? I'd be willing to bet $1. He's probably just going to put some HGs in it. What you guys think? Leave your comments in the doobly-doo below. Okie dokie. 2 HGs. And now we're over here again. Make sure the amp is off. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, about 20 watts of drive. Amp on, we're gonna start out on low. Hello, 1, 2. About 180 watts, I'm gonna go to medium. Hello, 1, 2. About 200. And then hello, 1, 2, about 250, 240 on high. And that, gentlemen, is on 13.8 volts going through a pair of alligator clips. So, now that everything else is fixed, shut this thing off. So I was just talking to the customer. I said, well, there's, I'd changed quite a few things in here to make it safe. It's like I've got to still go and fix some stuff here. Like this ground wire's got a bunch of stuff hanging out of it, and I've got to put some heat shrink around that, and I want to solder these tabs. Put some heat shrink around this to help support this. But we're going to fold it back together. And like I was saying, this amp has been wet at some point or another, and all the screws that hold this amp together are completely rusted and or stripped. And we're going to replace them with brand new stainless steel screws. So, on that note, it's my wife calling me on the phone. I'll be back. Okay, so now we've put it back together. Got all brand new screws in it, all shiny new screws. Let's see here. Turn the amp on. Hello, same drive as before. Start out in low. Hello, 180 watts in low, medium. Hello, at 125. And hello, about 250, 275 in peak power. Yay. For those of you that are trying to watch this on a cell phone, we'll zoom in here. High. Hello, medium. Hello, and low. Hello. Okay. Sideband delay is working. Everything's working great. call us a win. Okay. Now, let's go get the headache amplifier. I'm going to clean up this mess from fixing this one here. Put away all my test and tubes and BS fuses. Where the boards were married together, I soldered the blade fuse, or the blades, the little butt splices and stuff. I soldered all that together. And then I put another layer of heat shrink over the top after I got the joints together, because they didn't have the proper male and female connectors to make it so that the positive and negative wires could never touch. So used your connectors, cleaned up the connections, and put everything together right and safe. So I feel very confident that this little box will go out in the world and somebody else can use it and use it well. All right, let's reset and let's jump over to this RM Italy. So here it is as promised. The Klv-550. I'm not a big fan of the RM Italy line of anything. Let me explain to you why. They're just too damn cheap. I guess the best way to put it. Long and the short of it is they're just too cheap. And what I mean by that is usually most of the RM Italy amplifiers are so cheap that after you send them to a shop to get repaired, like here, and I take the time to open it up and look on the inside, and then we order the parts to put it in, the amp and whatever, the whole repair costs more than what you can get a brand new amp for. That's the problem. I've had that happen about 5 times now, where somebody sends up the RM Italy and then I gotta get the parts, the transistors or whatever from wherever, Bangladesh, wherever. And then I get them here and I go and put a part in. I'm like, okay, cool. So the whole repair was $230 or $330. Oh, I just found one on QRZ, or I just found one on eBay, or I just found one on... And it's like $100 cheaper. So it's not worth repairing it most of the time. Now, from what I understand, this amplifier's got a little bit of value to it. Okay. I'm not judging. I never want to judge. You know, things come here and people put their value on it that they have, and it's like I asked this guy, I said, hey man, you know, what do you got for a budget on this? And he says, and I'm like, oh, well, for that kind of budget, it's going to be a little bit tight to fix this thing. So short of us being able to kind of plug this thing in and turn it on, I wish him the best of luck. It's like that Klv-550 I got sitting over there in the corner with a pop tube and a high voltage section that's all scattered in it. By the time I get that thing finished, I don't know if the guy that owns it is going to be able to turn a dime on it after I get done selling it. Needless to say, we'll focus on this here today. Let's go look on the inside. I want to see what that's all about, and I want to push this meter's kind of doing its own thing there. I want to push the meter back, and let's at least try and give this an honest go to see what's wrong with this. I mean, he has waited forever for me to look at it. That's the least that we could do, right? I wonder what that came out of. It's floating around inside the box. Well, gentlemen, this is it. This is the Klv-550. It looks an awful lot like a mobile heatsink with 2 fans on it, an unregulated power supply, and a little tiny bit of regulated circuitry on the board for maintaining gate voltage. This particular amplifier has got a couple Maycoms in it. MRF442s, if I'm not mistaken. These are 28 volt, 30 megahertz components. They're 150 watts a piece, and they are $109 replacement cost per unit from RF Parts. And God knows where they came from, because they got the Macom logo. Looks a little off to me. Got the old duct tape repair going on here with the meter on the front, which that is fine. It's pretty simple. You got yourself a little 50 amp bridge rectifier, and you got your transmit light. Your preamp sideband is basically your high, medium, and low attenuation here. This knob here is what runs your preamp. Let's see here. Yep. RF comes in on this connector. This is our sense lead for our keying circuit. It's a regulator, post regulator. So this is the driver for the regulator. This is the brains behind the unit. It says ham linear amplifier. Yeah, well, there's no choking in this. There's no band selector. There's no... It's a 10 meters only. Wink, wink. All right. Little tiny filtering circuit. God, there's just not a lot to this. Most of the weight inside this box is, well, transformer. I don't see anything in here that's going to give me pause why I wouldn't want to hook it up. The solder work around these transistors is very bad. I believe that these have been replaced at one point or another. Either that or they hired the guys from MFJ to solder in their components. I don't know. We'll go with somebody's had their fingers in the pie. I want to hook it up, turn on. Let's see what it does. Straight up wrong, ID'd the components. I used the term MOSFET in that last little video segment. These are NPN transistors, period. That means push-pull, standard bipolar. Well, start out with low drive. Turn this all the way down. Turn that on. So, we're going to turn the amplifier on. There's literally an electrolytic capacitor in one wire that comes off of this. Preamps. Oh, don't even get me started. Okay. So standby means can circuit does nothing. Put it in ready and you can hear the cooling fans kick on. I'll be danged, it makes power. Now, before we get too carried away, now. That little IC chip's getting hotter than a friggin' firecracker. So's that little resistor. But the finals, ain't doing teabag. That ain't gonna work either. Hold on. Hello, 1 2 1 2. Hello, 1 2. Appear to be working okay. So for the record, this is a 1,000 watt scale here. 1,000 an average, 5 watt slug in reverse. Back from the bird, 10,000 watt dumping load. Hello, 1 2. Putting about 20 watts worth of peak power into this thing. And what's this get us? Take this up to position number 2. Hello, audio. It's 300 watts. Position number 3. Hello, audio. Right at 300 watts now. Position number 4. Hello, audio. About 325. Position number 5. Hello, audio. 1, 2. About 380. We're going to go to position number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hello. 400 watts. Peak power. Hello. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello. Our input tune. Hello. 1, 2. It's not too awful. Not the greatest thing in the world. Here, let's do this too while we're at it. Put that in standby. Pass-through tune. Hello, 1, 2, which is great, actually. Huh. This little girl seems to be working okay. Hello. I want this to make it do more power, but it's not gonna. Hello. Wow, 400 watts. Hello, audio. I'd assume this is about a 35 watt drive box. I'd assume. Reach down there and kick on the power supply. I feel like I get to call Mr. W and tell him, hey man, you're a cheap date. Which is good, I don't mind. I don't do anything, everything works. And guess what? This costs nothing. His first question to me is, well, what's your shop bench hourly rate? And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to charge you anything to look at it. The instant I got to pick up any of this stuff over here, that's when I start charging you stuff. No. I said, well, I do have one, but it's pretty flexible. Because let's face it, in this business, you got to be willing to invest 2 days in an SB220 and only charge like $300 for your time. Or otherwise, the guy's going to tell you to stuff it in your butt and get all pissed and go write angry shit about you on the internet. You got to be flexible, you know. Hello, 1, 2. Okay, so what we've done now is we've increased our voltage. Right there. Hello, 1, 2. So now we're doing about 28 watts. We picked up about 10 watts by going up the 3 volts. So we're in that 30-ish watt range. Spot number 1. Hello, audio. Oh yeah. 225 watts. Hello. 320 watts. Spot number 3. Hello. 380 watts. Spot number 4. Hello. 400 watts. Spot number 5. Hello. 400 watts. And spot number 6. Hello. About 425 watts. I would call that good, and I wouldn't push it any further than that. Them transistors are as happy as pie, man. They're at 75 degrees. Turn that off. That's that, man. I mean, that's literally... Call this a day. Well, I'm going to call a customer and tell them the good news. That we're not going to muck with this. I can't... I could get in here and fiddly fart around with the output inductor coil a little bit and maybe get it to do a couple more watts, but it's really not worth it. It's honestly not. This is your whole preamp circuit. Right here, by the way. These 2 cans are what control that. If I'm not mistaken, this is your 10 meter only or 11 meter modification. Don't quote me on that, it came in here modified, so I don't know. I am just checking the thing out. Well, gentlemen, that's it. Little skipper, it's done. And this KLV, as far as I can tell, works perfect. Cheddar. I would not put more than 35 watts worth of peak power in this thing. You will regret it. Life will be long and hard for you, and you'll be out about $260 in transistors and shipping by the time you get this figured out. It's not worth it. 35 watt. It's a 35 watt amp. The power supply on the front is a 3 amp regulated supply, and it's an intermediate load supply. So you can put 3 amp worth of load on it for 1 minute, but then 1 minute off. Just keep that in mind. But anyhow, arm Italy. I never bothered to see if this was lighting up or not. Never. I'm slipping in my old age. This is literally a fancy cabinet around a literal mobile amplifier. I can see a plastic insert that goes in here. Oh. Well, use what you got at hand. Oh, it's lighting up. A little blue dot. No joke. You're so cute. Okay. Oh, man. That's freaking great. Gentlemen, my name is BBI. I want to say thanks to every single one of you guys. Let's see. What is tomorrow? I think tomorrow we're playing a game of What's in the Big Giant Cardboard Box again. So, on that note, I'll see you. I say thanks to every single one of you. Shout out to Siglet, Maxman, Excess Power, Coaxial Dynamics, and Bird. Big thanks to my Patreon buddies. If you've ever learned anything from this channel, or enjoyed anything that you've ever gotten here, come check us out on Patreon. I put posts up every single day of what I'm working on. Every single day. Except for Sundays. And any and all questions that you'd ever have for me, they all get an immediate and very prompt response. So, on that note, gentlemen, I'll see you. Click, click.